Men aren't afraid of commitment. They're afraid of losing everything after they commit. That's the truth no one wants to say out loud. Men aren't walking away from love because they hate women. They're walking away because the cost of commitment has become too high, and the reward too small. Marriage used to be a partnership, two people building something bigger than themselves. But today, it's a gamble, and the house always wins. The man walks in with hope, heart, and purpose. He walks out with half his income, a broken spirit, and kids he can only see every other weekend. This isn't fear, it's logic, it's survival, because let's be honest, modern marriage doesn't protect men. It punishes them. One argument, one emotional impulse, one lawyer later, and everything he built is gone. The home he paid for? Gone. The savings he built? Split. His reputation? Questioned. And society doesn't care. They'll just tell him, you should have chosen better. But that's the trap. You can't choose better in a system that's already rigged against you. Men watch their fathers, brothers, and friends go through the same story, the same courtroom, the same heartbreak. They see what happens when you give everything to someone who can take it all back the moment she stops feeling fulfilled. And that's the key word, feeling. Because marriage today isn't built on duty or loyalty anymore. It's built on emotion, fleeting, unstable, and conditional. The second the spark fades, the vows vanish. Love used to mean forever. Now it means until it's inconvenient. So men learned, they adapted. They realized they can give effort, attention, and affection without signing a legal contract that could destroy their life. They realized they can build peace without permission. They realized they can love without losing everything if it ends. And that realization terrifies society. Because a man who doesn't need to marry is a man who can't be controlled. He's not spending his life chasing approval or playing the provider for someone who sees him as disposable. He's investing in himself, his freedom, his purpose. The disappearing groom isn't bitter, he's aware. He's seen what happens when men give everything and still get blamed for not being enough. He's seen women walk away from marriages they begged for because they need to find themselves. He's seen how courts, culture, and expectations all turn against the same man who was told his only purpose was to protect and provide. Now, he's protecting himself. And the world calls that selfish. But maybe, just maybe, it's the first time men have learned to choose self-respect over self-sacrifice. So if you've ever wondered why men aren't getting married anymore, it's not because they stopped believing in love. It's because they finally understand what love costs. And for the first time, they're not willing to pay the price just to prove they're good men. The groom didn't disappear, he just woke up. They say marriage is a partnership, but for men it's a contract signed in invisible ink, written by lawyers, not lovers. Here's the truth. The system isn't built to protect men. It's built to punish them. The moment a man says, I do, he's stepping into a trap, a legal battlefield where love ends and leverage begins. One bad day, one argument, one emotional decision from his wife, and he can lose everything he's spent his life building. Because when marriages fail, men don't just lose a relationship, they lose their lives. Ask any divorced man. He'll tell you the same story. The house, gone. The savings, split. The kids, every other weekend. And after all that, he's told to man up and keep paying for a family he no longer gets to see. That's not justice. That's humiliation with a legal stamp. The court doesn't care that he worked 60 hours a week to keep the lights on. It doesn't care that he was faithful, supportive, or loving. All it sees is a paycheck. And suddenly, the man who once built the home becomes a visitor in it, a guest in his own family's life. Meanwhile, society claps for her. She's so brave. She's finding herself. She deserves happiness. But what about him? The man who stayed loyal while being told he wasn't enough. The man who begged for counseling instead of conflict. The man who now lives in a one-bedroom apartment while his ex posts self-love quotes from the house he paid for. The system doesn't just fail men, it breaks them. Alimony was supposed to protect women who couldn't work, not reward those who choose not to. Yet men across the world are writing monthly checks to women who walked away, all while being told equality is the goal. Custody laws don't even get started. A father has to prove he deserves to see his own kids, while a mother gets the benefit of the doubt. Best interest of the child, they call it. But deep down, every man knows what that really means. Mum wins. And when men speak up, when they share their pain, what happens? They're called bitter, misogynists, insecure. Society silences them because the truth doesn't fit the narrative. But here's the brutal reality. Men are learning, they're watching. They're realizing that commitment in this system is a suicide mission dressed up as romance. That's why they're walking away. Not out of fear, but out of awareness. Because once you see how the system is rigged, you can't unsee it. You can't unknow what it feels like to lose your home, your kids, your peace, and still be told it's your fault. So men are making a new promise, not to the system, but to themselves. They're saying, never again, not because they stopped believing in love, but because they refuse to be punished for it. Once upon a time, relationships were built on reciprocity. Two people gave love, effort, loyalty, because they wanted to, not because they were keeping score. But now, it's one-sided. Men give, women take. And the balance that once made relationships sacred is dead. Modern marriage has turned into a lopsided deal, a man's duty versus a woman's desire. Men are still expected to play the provider, protector, and problem solver, while women are applauded for simply showing up. He's told to work harder, to earn more, to prove his worth. She's told if he really loved you, he'd do more. See the game yet? The modern woman wants traditional benefits, security, commitment, financial stability, but refuses traditional responsibilities. She wants a man to protect her, but mocks masculinity. She wants to be treated like a queen, but can't be bothered to act like a partner. She demands chivalry, but gives back ego. This is the death of reciprocity, where effort has become expectation. Ask the average man what happens when he gives everything in today's relationship. He plans the dates, pays the bills, stays loyal, stays consistent. And what does he get in return? Criticism, indifference, sometimes outright contempt. He's told he's not emotionally available, while she scrolls through TikToks about divine feminine energy and men who can't handle strong women. It's exhausting. Men aren't asking for perfection, they're asking for partnership. But what they get is entitlement disguised as empowerment. She wants emotional intimacy, but only on her terms. She wants you to listen, but never to lead. She wants your loyalty, but keeps her options open. And when you finally pull back, when you stop chasing, stop overgiving, stop trying to fix a one-sided relationship, suddenly you're the villain. She says you've changed. No, you just stopped being her emotional ATM. The truth is, modern love feels transactional because it is. Affection has become a reward for compliance. Respect has become conditional. And the second a man stops performing, he's toxic, lazy, or ungrateful. This isn't partnership, it's performance. And men are tired of being cast in a role where the ending is always the same. He gives, she leaves. And society still blames him. So now men are doing something radical. They're walking away. Not from women, but from one-sided love, from the mental gymnastics of trying to prove their worth in a relationship where effort only flows one way. Because here's the truth, no one wants to admit. You can't build a future with someone who sees your effort as a resource, not a reflection of love. And that's why so many men are done. Not because they stopped believing in women, but because they're done bleeding for people who only know how to take. Reciprocity is dead, and men are done dying with it. Let's talk about the modern woman, not the fantasy version, not the girl boss, glow-up Instagram edit, but the real one, conflicted, confused, torn between independence and intimacy. Because somewhere along the way, feminism stopped being about equality and started being about power. And now relationships aren't built on love anymore, they're built on leverage. She says, I don't need a man, but spends her nights scrolling through dating apps wondering, where have all the good men gone? The irony, she chased away the very thing she claims to want. Modern feminism told women they could have it all: career, freedom, validation, endless options. But what it didn't tell them is that power and partnership don't always coexist. You can't dominate a man and expect him to still desire you. You can't call yourself independent and then demand that a man still provide for you. That's the dilemma. She doesn't want equality. She wants control. She doesn't want a partner. She wants a competitor she can still beat. And when he refuses to play that game, when he chooses peace over proving himself, she calls him weak. See, the strong, independent woman narrative sounds empowering until you realize it's just isolation in disguise. She's been told she doesn't need anyone. Not love, not support, not stability. But deep down, she still craves it. That's why she posts, "I don't need a man," but cries when no one calls. That's why she preaches independence online, but complains that men don't approach her anymore. This isn't liberation. It's loneliness dressed in confidence. And men, they're done trying to solve it. Because no matter what they do, it's wrong. Be assertive, you're controlling. Be gentle, you're too soft. Provide, you're reinforcing patriarchy. Expect effort in return. You're insecure. It's a game no man can win, and that's why so many have stopped playing. The modern woman says she wants a man who matches her energy. But what she really means is, I want a man who gives me everything without me giving up anything. She wants the safety of tradition and the freedom of rebellion. She wants to be protected like a wife, but treated like she's single. And the result? Stalemate. Two people fighting for dominance instead of connection. The tragedy is, she doesn't even realize she's been sold a lie. A lie that told her submission equals weakness, compromise equals oppression, and interdependence equals failure. So now she's alone, powerful, independent, and miserable. Because real power was never about control, it was about balance. But in the pursuit of power, modern women lost the one thing that made love worth having: reciprocity. So when she says, "I don't need a man," believe her. Because men have finally realized she doesn't want one anyway. She wants the illusion of choice, not the reality of commitment. And that's why so many men have walked away. Not from women, but from the impossible version of them that modern culture created. Let's be brutally honest, marriage today isn't a promise, it's a liability. It's a gamble where the man risks everything, his money, his time, his peace, for a prize that's no longer guaranteed. Men aren't avoiding marriage because they fear commitment. They're avoiding it because they've done the math, and the equation doesn't add up anymore. Think about it. What's the reward for a modern man who gets married? A partner? Maybe. Peace? Hardly. Stability? Not a chance. Now compare that to the risks. Financial ruin, emotional exhaustion, social humiliation if it fails. A lifetime of paying for a choice that she can walk away from at any moment with half of everything you own. Marriage today doesn't reward loyalty, it rewards failure. A woman can destroy the relationship, initiate divorce, and still walk away with your house, your savings, and your kids. You stay loyal, you lose. She leaves, she wins. That's not love. That's a system designed to punish devotion. Men are waking up to it. They've seen their fathers drained by alimony, their friends lose custody of their kids, their co-workers rebuilding from nothing after decades of loyalty. And the message is clear: marriage isn't a commitment anymore. It's a contract written in her favor. You can't even protect yourself from it. Prenups get torn apart in court. Custody goes to her by default. And the same society that told her she's a strong, independent woman suddenly calls her a victim the second she decides she's unhappy. Meanwhile, the husband, the provider, the man who gave everything, becomes the villain in his own story. And for what? A little companionship, a few years of affection before resentment sets in and "I love you" turns into "I need space." No wonder men are walking away. They're not bitter, they're bored of losing. They're done investing their lives into a system that treats their sacrifice as disposable. Marriage used to be a bond, built on duty, respect, and loyalty. Now it's a business deal where the man signs the dotted line and hopes he doesn't get sued later. Women get social validation for leaving. Men get silence when they stay. And if they dare to speak up about the imbalance, they're labeled misogynists or commitment phobes. But here's the truth no one wants to say out loud. Men aren't scared of marriage. They're scared of the consequences. They've seen the statistics, they've lived the fallout, and they're finally saying what everyone else is afraid to admit. There's no reward left for playing by the rules. So men are choosing differently now. They're choosing peace over paperwork, freedom over risk, logic over love. Because when the system punishes loyalty and glorifies leaving, the smartest move a man can make is to never step into the trap in the first place. There's a quiet revolution happening, and it's not loud, it's not angry, it's not even public. It's silent, it's strategic, it's men walking away. No protests, no speeches, no drama, just calm detachment. They've stopped arguing, stopped chasing, stopped trying to fix something that was never built for them in the first place. Because men are realizing something powerful. Peace is priceless, and no woman, no contract, no relationship built on imbalance is worth losing it for. See, for decades, men were told that their purpose was to serve, to provide, to protect, to prove themselves. But what did it get them? Broken homes, drained bank accounts, and a lifetime of being blamed for problems they didn't create. Now, they're done being pawns in a rigged game. They're not bitter, they're awake. And instead of fighting the system, they're doing something smarter. They're rejecting it entirely. They're realizing that solitude isn't punishment, it's peace. That a quiet apartment and a loyal dog beat chaos in a shared house. That the gym, the grind, the purpose, the brotherhood, it all feels better than walking on eggshells for someone who stopped appreciating them years ago. This is the rise of the peaceful man. He's not chasing validation anymore. He's chasing silence, because silence can't lie. He's chasing discipline, because discipline never betrays. He's chasing freedom, because freedom doesn't file for divorce. While the world mocks him for being emotionally unavailable, he's building something stronger than emotion: control. He's not emotionally unavailable, he's emotionally untouchable. And that terrifies a society that used to profit from his exhaustion. They'll call him cold, they'll call him selfish, they'll call him bitter. But deep down, they know he's just free. Because when a man stops needing to prove his worth to a system designed to drain him, he becomes dangerous, untamed, focused, unbreakable. He's not the man scrolling through dating apps hoping for a match. He's the man building his empire while the rest of the world wonders where he went. He's not ghosting love, he's ghosting chaos. He's not afraid of commitment, he's just committed to himself. And here's the irony: when men stop chasing, everything starts chasing them. Peace brings power, focus brings attraction. And the same world that once told them they weren't enough suddenly wants them back, but they're not coming back. Because once a man tastes peace after years of noise, he never returns to the battlefield. He doesn't argue, he doesn't explain. He doesn't need to. He's found something better than love: clarity. And that's the real revolution. Not loud, not violent, just men everywhere realizing that walking away isn't weakness. It's the ultimate power move. Because in a world built on chaos, the calm man is king.